Welcome back to No Facts, All Logic with my co-host Cam and a new guest, Shawn. Today we're talking about immigration. So I guess the question is, what's the worst kind of immigrant? Cam.
Wow, starting off strong, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any bad immigrant. I think that when you come here illegally, I think that that's the biggest issue.
All right. Illegals are bad. Shawn, what's your take?
Illegals are not bad.
All right.
This is going to be interesting.
This is going to be interesting.
All right. So I guess we'll start. Cam, what makes illegals bad?
that they're not legal. I mean, I think that you have to go through a vetting process if you want to live within the United States. I'm all for people coming over, but you have to do it legally. I think that that's mainly what the Democrats are saying. Like, we're all for people coming here, but you have to do it legally. You have to get go through a process, become legalized. So, pretty much it.
Well, here's the fun fact is that I do not disagree with that, actually. That is a true statement because as as somebody whose family had to legally enter the country with green cards and stuff, it is a very difficult process to, first of all, even enter this country, and an even more difficult process to get citizenship. The amount of work you actually have to do to become a citizen is, frankly, more than I believe would necessarily. I mean, it's just. Oh man, I'm like.
It's okay. Take your time.
Should it be hard to become a United States citizen? That should be the key question that we're asking.
It shouldn't be an extremely challenging process. But I think that you have to go about it in a way of doing like background checks. You have to feel confident that these people who are escaping a bad situation aren't going to carry that over. I think that's what everybody wants: asylum. They want freedom. They want what the United States offers. They want to start their own business. They want to be able to have the opportunities that Americans have. But I think that Americans, who are born here, they don't understand the process. So you have Republicans who want have illegal immigrants deported from this country. You know what I'm saying? Put a wall up and all this stuff. Democrats, on the other hand, want it more legalized. So I think it's about how matter of perspective. But I think it shouldn't be the hardest challenge. It shouldn't take years and years and years like it does for some people.
Yeah, I think the issue is that it's just. The problem already exists. It's not like we're trying to prevent, we are trying to prevent new illegals, but at the same time, illegal immigrants are a part of this country already. And so, rather than deporting them, which is very much just sweeping the problem under the rug, I believe that there should be a path to citizenship or legalized residence for those immigrants. Some of them, for example, have livelihoods or families in this country, and it's very much it's a human rights issue as well, because if you separate, if you just ship people back to the countries they came from, it's just what are we even doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's two ideas I have for immigrants. Number one, for people that seek asylum, I think they should have a fast trial, much faster than they currently have. And I think the best system we could do for them is a system we already have, and it really annoys Americans, but it's better. I think we should have a jury process for immigrants seeking asylum. Instead of them just going up to a judge, weighing down the paperwork, I think they should have to make their case in front of a bunch of Americans, why they should be Americans, why they're seeking asylum from their current country and living situation. And if every American agrees, this person deserves to be here and given the opportunity, I think that would be a better thing than having 6 million people undocumented living in the country waiting for their trial date pushed back 5 years.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to have a trial 5 years and then just be like, oh, you came here for economic benefit and not because you were actually scared for your life. So
Right.
we'll just, this life that you built here was a waste of time. And I think you get banned for like 10 years from entering the United States if you're deported. That's just one suggestion. What do you guys think of that?
It's a good suggestion, but I mean, it's hard because like
Because
right
you have
here,
to go through all of the legal process to get that kind of stuff passed. You know what I mean? So it's like,
and you're dealing with the headache of that on top of like your biggest thing is you just want a fresh start and a company that offers way more opportunities than Mexico, than Cuba, than, you know what I'm saying? Like, so people that are coming here want to obviously have the opportunity, but the process that we have in place right now is just unbearable for a lot of those families, you know, and it's challenging because a lot of those people don't have a proper education. So they're trying to learn all this stuff, go through the process and have people help them through it. And it's like their families, you know, they need money for their families. They need food. They need, you know, they need to survive, and they just escaped a bad situation. And now we're a land of opportunity, but the land of opportunity that takes months, if not years, to achieve for people who are trying to.
so let me put this into a perspective because, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with how the Civil War worked.
This what?
The Civil War.
Somewhat.
Yeah, so that was a period where the North and the South were fighting each other, and black people had to basically find asylum in the North, right?
Yeah, that was
So
an option.
yeah, okay. So, like, let's present this case study as, like, let's say that people were trying to escape the South to, you know, like, no longer be slaves or no longer be killed or whatever was going on. And they were trying to find refuge in the North. And then they finally get to a northern state and somebody's just like, nah, fuck you, go back.
Yeah, I think the problem comes from like this type of situation is very much like not our problem to deal with. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That's the people that really annoy like the Republican parties and stuff are the people seeking asylum for an inappropriate reason, for economic stance, and not because of prejudicial stances. If you're seeking asylum because maybe you spoke against your like dictator in your country, that's basically a green light to get citizenship in the United States. If you are feared because you like spoke out against someone, or you fear in like an inappropriate response to like your civil rights as a violation, then that'll be a key marker. Also with the Biden administration did and stuff, I think Biden's really dropped the ball on immigration in general.
How so?
He just hasn't done shit about it. He reinforced the Trump's policy of like sending people back to the first country they landed, and that kind of stuff. I don't inherently disagree with that law. It's just there's better ways we can move forward. Another suggestion is we could actually do like a lottery system in the U.S. where you buy a ticket and only like 1 out of 5 million win, but all the proceeds from the lottery process, make sure you get a really good start in America. Like imagine like you're not just starting off in like the brokest neighborhood, you're actually getting a head start in America for the people that win the process. Like all proceeds go to benefiting.
So we're gonna do like a Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
Absolutely.
Like,
That's
pick the
what
golden
golden
ticket,
ticket.
and then like 1 in 5 million people get. So if you have 5 million people and only one of them gets that golden ticket, how is that fair to the other 4,999,000?
Because they're all gambling. They're all
Like-
taking the chance.
But now they're gonna have to get stuck in that position of like
Oh,
dealing
but
with the
wait.
cartel,
So
with like.
so what if the person trying to come to the United States is 20 years old? Are they breaking the law now because they can't gamble? Like, what are we fucking
You can
doing?
buy tickets before 21.
I thought you had to be 21 or older.
And we're talking about selling it to other countries.
So now we're just going from one law to breaking a different law. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I think it's a matter of like, okay, you have to see, okay, this is where the countries where that's most common for immigrants, right? So like right here, this is the Council on Foreign Relations website, right? So I think this is as of 2021, Mexico was the most common country of origin for U.S. immigrants, with Mexicans constituting 24% of the total immigrant population. Other countries of origin include India, 6%, China, 5%, and the Philippines, 4%. Mm-hmm. So, given that, like, we have to say, okay, that's millions of people coming from different parts of the world that are trying to seek asylum or start fresh in the United States. We have to kind of vet that process out of, okay, we're going to do background checks on each one of these people, their families. We're going to see how many family members they have coming in. Because I think it was under Trump's administration, he was trying to limit the amount of people that you could have with your family. It was something like that. Like I think it was like you could have, if you had a family of 6, 4 could go or 5 could go. So it was like you had to kind of, there's only so much space in the country. Like you were saying, like the lottery system and stuff like that. But
yeah,
there's only so much room.
It would be like you could build a new house for them and that kind of stuff. It just the idea is to set them off on a good footing, and it not affecting the current American taxpayers, because one of the things is like when we take on immigrants, we don't want to have to pay for their health care. We don't want to have to because that's a huge thing in the South right now.
Absolutely.
Like when people cross the border illegally, they're still given access to the hospitals and stuff, as they should be, but it's also they're very common to just skip the bill because it's not like they have a social security number and you can hold those people accountable to for the debt they accumulate for their emergency services. So it overwhelms the South hospitals, and it also probably damages the overall expense of the American healthcare system.
And I did a little bit of research, and I think that there's obviously some pros to having immigrants come to the country. Economic growth is one that usually occurs when immigrants enter this country. Job availability, immigrants being able to own their own businesses and stuff like that can add to the economic growth. I think there's a lot of opportunities, but I think that there has to be a process to maybe expedite certain situations depending on the severity of what somebody who's trying to become a naturalized citizen is going through. That's not to say that others who maybe don't have it as bad shouldn't get expedited, but I think that you have to kind of have a set process in place. But okay, these people are seeking asylum because there's war going on.
Standard does exist.
No, but I think you have to, but you're not. You have to expedite that process. So instead of it taking 5 years, it takes a year and a half, right? But within that year and a half, there's opportunities to find jobs. There's opportunities to find shelter. You know what I'm saying? And get used to the customs within the United States.
I feel like 6 weeks is what
6 weeks, yeah, even 6 weeks. 6 weeks to 6 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a lot of incremental destabilization, I believe, in terms of how this thing is just handled in general. Because, for example, so I'm kind of the whole point of me talking about this or bringing this up to you guys was there's a law in Florida that recently got passed. It's the SB 1718. So Ron DeSantis basically is just okay, all illegal immigrants out of the state. That's it. Shut them all out.
Oh, which is funny because since he's done that, it's now they have what's it called? I think there's a special visa that a lot of those immigrants are getting now because of how he basically lied to them and getting them on the planes and stuff. I think it's called a J visa. Is now what they apply for. It's basically when the government officials lied to you or there's some kind of fraudulent act that got you over here, now you automatically qualify for a U.S. citizen because our beef's not with you being a victim of this. It's a beef with who tricked you and who got you over here, who it went through this process, and I think a lot of the the people that got deported from Florida will automatically now get citizenship.
So, sorry, no, you can keep talking.
I'm all done.
So I looked it up because I just want to make. I'm not aware of that law, and apparently it went into effect yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. So okay, what are the effects of SB 1718? And then you go on. This is on www.west.com. All right. So SB 1718 has multiple provisions, including making it a felony to transport immigrants without documents into the state. Requires any hospital that accepts Medicaid to include a question on its admission or registration forms inquiring about whether the patient is a United States citizen. So back to his point earlier was if a illegal immigrant, right, comes, or if they're not natural born citizen of the United States, they don't have access to that right off, right? So I'm not saying that it's maybe the best thing to do, but it is a smart thing to do because the taxpayers are going to have to make up those dollars because they don't have access to insurance or Medicaid or anything like that. So it's really not the worst thing in the world.
I will say that's probably the worst way you could tackle this situation.
No, it's the worst way you could have tackled the situation because basically what happens
Okay,
now,
how much
right?
is the hospital going to be? How much is the hospital bill going to be though if somebody breaks their leg and they don't have insurance, right? Because they're not a legal citizen. How much is that hospital bill going to be that they would have to pay?
That's a Google question.
No, I'm just saying roughly about.
I would
Say it's 50. Say it's like $100,000.
There's no
No,
way.
just surgery, recovery, physical therapy.
I guess if you're getting surgery,
I'm just asking.
I
Just
would be-
roughly about 100.
I would be shocked if it's 100.
No, just hypothetical. Even at 50,000.
Okay, but isn't that just a drop in the bucket compared to 10% of the state's workforce is illegal immigrants, and they just ship them all out.
Were they legal? Were they going through the process of becoming legalized?
Because there's no easy way to do that.
You didn't answer my question.
It's not.
Hang on.
So it's not targeting the real problem.
No, hang on. You
It's
didn't
just
answer my question.
basically
Though.
brushing it under the rug.
But okay, how many of those immigrants, right, were going through the legalization process?
We don't know.
But if you had a number, say there was how many did you say there was 10,000? Is that what you said?
Sure, whatever.
No, say 10,000.
Just have an arbitrary number. Okay.
And okay, so hypothetically, if 3,000 of those people, right, were going through the legalization process, and the 7,000 people were not, should the 3,000 people should probably stay because they're going through that process to be legalized. Is that fair that those 3,000 people can stay?
So
And the 7,000 would get moved somewhere else, either back to their home country or.
It doesn't matter. They're not handling it that way.
But that would be a better revision to that law.
Well,
I'm saying that's the only way you can
I'm just
handle
talking
it.
about the law as it is. We're not talking about what a better revision would be
So
because that's not what got passed.
the main issue that I have with the system right now, it makes immigrants fearful to get medicine that they might crucially need to be to do maybe their current job or to even seek out help in the first place. I really would hate to see Americans walking past people in the street with untreated broken legs. That to me seems horrific to just have in the United States. People being so fearful to see medical help. That's why I think I strongly disagree with the current law and why I think it's not the best way to go about tackling your immigration thing.
Oh, well,
Yes,
healthcare
it-
in the United States is an entirely different issue because who can even afford it in the first
Nobody.
place?
If you have a baby, it's thousands of fucking dollars, and you get bankrupt at the end of it. If you go to the emergency room and you're there for say 30 minutes,
So whether you're an illegal immigrant
That's
or
why
not,
I'm-
you're not seeking healthcare, really.
no,
Unless
that's,
you
so
have a- unless you have a
that's
job
the
with
broader
insurance.
topic. But
Yes.
the in-depth topic right now is immigrants getting deported from the state of Florida because they're not legalized. But I'm saying that. What else is supposed to do? You know what I'm saying?
Effectively, it doesn't solve the problem.
But I'm saying, if you were in DeSantis' shoes, right? How would you solve the problem? Would you leave it alone?
I don't know. I'm not a politician.
I'm asking you, if hypothetically, if you were in his position, what would you do? If this was Kristen Nunu in New Hampshire and you were in his shoes, what would you do?
It should be a national decision. It should not be by the states.
Okay, so if you were if you were Biden and you were trying to work with each branch of the government, right, to try and pass something that regulates illegal aliens getting temporary citizenship, to pay for that, like to pay for surgery,
You just waive a lot of, like, so they, for example, like lately they've been trying to waive green card interviews. That's a good first step. Make green cards easier to get.
Yeah, and that's why I said earlier, I think it's a very challenging process to begin with, and it shouldn't be that challenging. You know, it shouldn't. I don't know how long it takes. What, months to get a green card? Weeks? I don't know.
I think it's like supposed to be 6 months after a certain waiting period.
That is way too long.
Yeah. So should it be like what, 2 weeks? You know,
I mean,
a week, like the same day.
What the number should be. It's just a matter of like the current process is just.
But that's what I'm saying.
Preventing
like,
people from coming into this country at all.
If people.
Well, the current process is. Like, there's a lot of ways you can immigrate to the United States that's not asylum. Which, if we want to get into the nitties of, like, marriage visas and that kind of stuff, we can get into that. But, like, I think the core issue is the people seeking asylum, which are that make up the majority of unregistered immigrants. And the people that, like, slip through the border are, like, the people that will make the argument for asylum. So... Like, I really don't have much of an issue with, like, how the marriage visa works in the United States. Or how I think it's also a fiancé visa works in the United States.
Is it? Yeah.
Also, like, the college visas that we have in the United States are also pretty decent.
All right, so let me throw this out to you guys. So, do you believe that if an illegal immigrant lives in this country and they have a child, should that child be a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Like, are you talking about, like, they were born in, like, say, Mexico? But
No,
or they were born here?
No, like, let's
child.
say two people from Mexico come here, they're not legal, but they have a child in the United States. Should they be a citizen?
I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, birthright citizenship, correct?
Yes.
Well,
Because that kid is going to be a citizen, so then the parents who already live here, I mean...
Trump is trying to prevent that from happening.
Well, Trump can't do anything.
He calls it an anchor baby.
Well, like that's like his that's like the platform that he's going to run on, basically, or one of the platforms he's running on currently.
I don't. This might be a side tangent, but I really don't think Trump has a chance of winning.
No, it doesn't matter if he wins or not. It's just a matter of
what he's basing.
What he's saying is the stuff that the Republican platform will rally around, and there will be somebody. I mean, like, obviously this is all hypothetical, but at some point, somebody's gonna just, like, we're already seeing it. We're already seeing DeSantis doing this kind of stuff. He's basically somebody who can get shit done, and this is the kind of stuff that's going to start to happen.
But it has to still go through the vetting powers of the Senate of Florida too. Like, it's not just DeSantis ruling this. If other people find that this is the right way to go, that's not just DeSantis's. That's the state of Florida, the government in Florida being like, no, this is the best thing for us to do and carry this out. So that's not just one person making this decision. This is a group of people who are highly intelligent people making this decision. So it's like you can't just fault one person.
I'm not faulting one person. I'm faulting one party.
No, but
it's he's taking a lot of credit for the bill, so he deserves a lot of the criticism for the bill. If you're the politician that, like, pushes the bill through. And it's like your face is attached to a bill.
The platform for the bill, yeah.
Then you deserve the criticism, especially if you're running for president. Like, of course, that should be a milestone of, like, a mark on your record.
And so essentially, what's happening in Florida, if he were to become president, he will implement this on a national level.
I don't think he'll have that power.
You don't think so?
No, because you still have checks and balances that it has to go through the same process. And
But,
it's probably going to get shot down on one side.
There's a possibility he gets passed through, though.
Yeah, it's always a possibility of something, but I highly doubt that if he was at the national level, like, I don't think it gets passed.
We'll remember that in 3 years.
I'll mark it down. July 2nd, 2023. I said it here, and I'll say it again. I don't think it will get passed at the national level. I think the state level, yeah, but...
I think DeSantis and Trump both represent kind of a minority, a vocal minority in the Republican Party.
But that's not true, because Trump was very much a majority of the Republican Party for the last 4 years.
The Republican Party is forced to rally around Trump. Trump represents, I believe it's like 30% of Republican voters will like ride and die for Trump all the way through, but the other remaining 70% of Republicans will just stand with him because he's the Republican nominee and stuff like that. And even then, you have like people that like probably voted for Biden over Trump in the last election. I think Trump's done an astounding job of like destroying a lot of his reputation, and I think a lot of Republicans take him a lot more seriously than they once did. And you still don't see a lot of criticism from the Republican Party directly, unless you're talking about Mitt Romney's always been against Trump and been very vocal. I believe like even Pence has come out and started to like go against Trump. Obviously, when Trump called him a pussy and stuff, allegedly.
I mean, he literally like had an insurrection on.
Yeah, imagine the vice president not giving into the insurrection. Crazy concept.
Maybe he didn't want to get murdered. Like.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to. So I think those are. There's a lot of like intermediate Republicans that could be elected. I think a lot of like people of New Hampshire like Chris Sununu as like a much more moderate Republican versus like certainly comparing it to DeSantis and Trump.
I think DeSantis is more a ride or die Republican for Trump. I don't think Sununu's as big on Trump.
No, he's not.
But I think he represents more what the Republican or the Conservative Party means as a whole. I don't get the impression that he was for. I think he even came out at one point and said some stuff about Trump. Like he wasn't really getting on board with what Trump was saying. Whereas DeSantis is like, oh fuck it, dude. Like we're doing this together. Like.
Well, DeSantis and Trump are like they're competing for the same target demographic, so they already have like vicious campaigns going against each other. It's honestly like one of my favorite things. It's like DeSantis like brings up a point like, oh, if you elect Trump again, you'll only have him for 4 years, so you won't have that safeguard of like a guy that can come in and run for 8 years. And then you have Trump coming back.
That's such a weak argument.
You have Trump coming back with him, and he's like, why is he talking about stuff you need 8 years to pass? I'll get it passed in 6 months.
Oh, yeah, he did a Trump impression.
Classic.
All right. Oh, man, I'm hungry. I'm going to go get a Big Mac now.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
I don't think that's what... America doesn't need either one of those two.
No.
I mean, even Greg Abbott of Texas is pretty extreme, but like Tulsi Gabbard, she's pretty good. She actually switched from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party.
Is she North Carolina?
No, I think she was Hawaii or Alaska, one of the two. But yeah.
All right, so to bring it back to immigration.
Yeah. Get back on track.
No, it's fine. So I watched a video earlier today. And Lindsey Graham, Republican,
yes,
had an opinion on illegal immigration that I thought was actually pretty fascinating.
I didn't get to watch. I didn't watch that video.
That's okay. So, essentially, he said something about how illegal immigration, if we were to ship back everybody, you would tank the farming economy.
I mean, there's farming visas though.
Well, then he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Like, that's what
when
I'm saying.
I said highly intelligent people, I didn't mean all of them. I just meant like...
Oh, yeah, no, this is a very high-ranking Republican official.
Yeah.
So, I think you just should have proven my point here.
No, we can look at some pretty idiotic Democratic nominees, too.
Oh, I'm not over here saying that I like the Democrats
I thought that's where you were going.
No, I am...
both sides have some fucking dum-dums. Like,
no, but the Republicans just tend to actively target people through racist ideology.
They're just more aggressive in their stance on shit than Democrats are. I think they
Democrats
take it to the extreme.
Are not aggressive at all.
But that's why I'm saying
they're
though.
Very much like let's just get steamrolled over everything.
But that's why I said earlier, like Republicans are more on the side of deporting illegal like aliens or people, whereas Democrats like, okay, we don't want to deport them. We want to go through the process that we already have in place. Maybe we can correct some things along the way and learn from mistakes in the past. We want to take it slow, which I don't think it should be taken slow. I think we can all agree on that, all three of us. There needs to be an expedited process, but we still have to go through the vetting process too. You know, to get a green card, to become naturalized, all this
The
shit.
problem is this doesn't solve the current problem of people currently living in the country.
But that's
nothing's going to be an overnight solution.
no.
I agree with that, but it's just
Like Rome wasn't built in a day. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take
like,
a long
but
fucking
what do
time.
we do? What do we do in the short term? Like all this is great for new immigrants, but what do you do for the ones that are currently living here?
You just have to find a process that can speed up the right, even if that means like funding for more judges or whoever, like more immigration control, like you.
But right now, the funding is just going into more enforcement of all of these policies to ship them out.
Is that where all the funding's going?
I mean, like that's what I would assume where it's going, right?
The wall.
I don't know for sure, but like, where else would it be going? Like, yeah, the wall. That's a good example.
No, that's one example. I mean, that's a big thing that Trump ran on for, I think it was when his first term. That was a big point. And then over time, it just started, like, that idea didn't diminish, but it didn't really solve. People are going to find a way around that. Like,
It's just a way of avoiding the root cause of a problem, which is what current American politics really is all about.
you just
What?
put a Band-Aid on it.
Just putting a Band-Aid on it.
reactive,
Yeah, exactly.
not proactive. And it's on both sides. It's on both sides.
I agree
Democrat
with
or
that.
Republican.
I'm
And
not-
that's a fair
I'm not-
statement.
Yep.
Well,
Not disagreeing
Band-Aid
with that.
solutions are very common when you have to like negotiate and compromise. Like our system's set up to do a lot of compromising, which if you like compare that to like other like houses, like look at the UK or whatever, like the Parliament basically elects their own president that represents them. So it's like as long as you have a small majority of like their Senate, they can pass any bill they want. But in the US, the people elect the president, and so you can have a weird dynamic where you have years where nothing gets done, nothing gets passed, because it goes against what the president wants, and yet Congress has a majority in the other house. You saw that happen with Obama when you had Democrats with a like equal thing, and then it turned into a Republican heavy house where nothing gets done. So you just have times in the US where no bill can get passed because you have a president that inherently disagrees with what the Senate holds. And so you have to come up with a plan that basically can excite people from both sides to unite around it. Does that make sense?
No,
No, it
it's just
does
a
make
challenging
sense.
thing to do.
It just doesn't happen as often as it should.
So I feel like the only reason
And
the
it's
only
usually because there's like, there's always like a catch in every proposal, if that makes sense.
yeah, I mean you can weed out the catches and stuff. They're supposed to.
Right.
But a lot of those catches in proposals and stuff are also like compromises part of the proposal of like, yeah, I'll give you this, but I kind of want this instead.
Right.
That's just how America kind of functions at the higher tier of politicians.
Yeah, it sucks. But
Yeah, it really does. It does suck.
I love it, guys. It
No,
sucks. What are you talking about?
no, it just. I mean, you see everything like going on in like Russia, Ukraine right now, and people seeking asylum. It's like, what's the process like for them seeking refuge and
See ya.
like, no, like in
that's
like
what it is.
no, but
That's
like
the
in Poland,
process.
but like okay, what's if they want to go to Poland, if they want to go to Lithuania, if they want to go to somewhere where there's not constant fighting, what's the process like for that? Is it expedited? And it's like, no, like you're like 6 weeks, that's it, and then you're a citizen of Poland or Lithuania. It's like,
Oh boy, but in 6 weeks I'm just gonna get like fucking my house blown up. That's cool.
no, but I'm like,
In
you get
Poland?
permit.
No, I just mean like not in a specific country. I'm just saying just in general. Like if you're trying to escape a war-torn country.
I think war is one of the reasons you can seek asylum, though.
Natural disaster, like stuff like that is what I think of like refuge.
Maybe you can't actually for a war.
No, I think you can.
Yeah,
I think so. It would make sense. I mean,
I feel like the U.S.
Pretty reasonable
has-
cause.
I'm not informed enough to.
no, I'm
to
not.
say
I'm not. I'm
anything.
just saying. I would think it. To me, it would make sense that war or natural disaster would definitely expedite something.
Yeah,
I don't believe it does. I'm not
Why?
sure, but
No,
I
no,
just mean I don't believe it. I don't believe that's.
No, I'm
that's
just
the
asking
policy.
why you think that. Like, I didn't know. Just because you didn't do any research on it, right? I haven't done any research
Yeah,
on it
I don't know
either. So.
either.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of feelings kind of people, you know? I
Right.
feel like this is the
I
process.
feel it.
Kind of like the title of
Hey,
the
well,
podcast.
you know what it is? It's yeah, no facts, all logic. Logically, I do not believe that.
But yeah,
All right. Do we want a new topic?
yeah. What else you guys want to talk about?
I don't know. Let's throw something out there.
Well, let's see what's going on. There's affirmative action. There's AI, cloning, aid. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Cloning? Yeah, what do you think of cloning, Cam?
I have to do research on it.
Hey, Cam 2, what do you think of cloning?
I have to do research on it.
All right. You want to do affirmative action? Because you guys probably both touched up on it, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, slightly. We
Sure.
can do affirmative action.
Oh, he's flipping his note card.
No, I just looked up the definition.
All right.
Online,
Well,
but-
if you know the definition, you want to explain what it is?
So the definition, what I looked up, a policy aimed at increasing both workplace and educational opportunities for people who are underrepresented in various areas of our society, is the definition that I found on Google
Correct.
for that.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter because it's no longer a policy that's here, so.
Should it have ever been a policy?
That's the argument. Is
Oh,
like,
yeah, well, what is the argument? So what's the argument here? What do you... I
I
mean,
think that was-
I don't see a point in targeting this policy, personally.
No?
you
Why
don't,
not?
Do you think the policy should have existed?
I mean, it maybe or maybe not, but I just don't... What's the point of rebuking it now? Like,
What's
who's it hurting?
the point of rebuking Roe versus Wade?
I agree with that. Why did we...
So
rebuke
that's
that?
what I'm saying. Like, there had to be a reason behind it. So I'm saying why all of a sudden our
Is
lawmakers focus on it.
Was there an issue that the law was trying to, like, get right and it just failed on? Or is there another type of law we should be institutionalizing to protect the marginalized people? Right? That's what you said in your definition.
Yeah, like
Marginalized.
Why
underrepresented,
this
marginal.
is just another instance of why is it so difficult for people of color to do anything in the United States?
I agree.
Probably years of poverty.
And
Okay,
why are we repealing all these processes, these decisions that have already been made?
Because the actual policy that was rebuked in the Supreme Court thing was about colleges, specifically, I believe Harvard and Yale's.
I think UPenn was another one.
Yeah, UPenn. A lot of the higher end state colleges were allowing different sets of standards for African Americans compared to everyone else, which didn't really help that group in a way that actually was effective. But that's not the reason it was overturned. It was overturned because the Supreme Court now decided that you cannot make a law specifically that targets race in this way.
It's not a law though; it's just a policy between in a private institution.
So I believe before it got overturned, it was a Supreme Court ruling saying, yes, colleges can actually take note and allow more African Americans in. They're allowed to discriminate based off of other racial features, and if they want to accept more African Americans, they can. What they currently did gets rid of that, so they can no longer take race into consideration when you're applying with an application. So if you want like a diverse university, you have to come up with other ways other than race to get that diversification.
Okay, that's reasonable.
It is reasonable, yeah.
But it's like, why was that made in the first place? I think it was enacted. Was it mid 1980s or something like that? It was so for almost 40 years. This was something that took place. Now all of a sudden, almost 40 years later.
I mean, it's just like changing in policy, changing in the core, and it's like, and as well as we got more data collected on that. Like, you saw, like these bigger universities when they accepted a lot more. When you have a group of people that don't have to test as high as like your white and Asians, you have like blacks that can test a lot lower on their academics. They're not passing the same rate as like white and Asians that went through and had a much harder time getting in because they were allowed to be brought in with much lower scores, and there was a much more larger tendency to drop out. So I think that was one reason this was brought up, and why it was not an effective policy to address the issue. Even though, like, so I guess the issue is, like, if this policy was successful, would it have been worth overturning it?
Yeah.
If this policy actually was an effective tool to help, like, poorer neighborhoods like African Americans to move up and get better paying jobs, would that be a better system? And if this was actually like a working system, would it have been worth overturning it in the first place? I guess is a more interesting question.
Yeah.
Because it was not successful, and now the Supreme Court said, well, it's actually racially charged to, like, pull in like more blacks if you want more a black student body.
So is it more like it doesn't sound bad, but like a charity for people?
Well, it's not a charity. It's more like the university wants to have a certain brand, and part of the branding of like the 80s and stuff was being more inclusive, and they couldn't justify, like, it was hard to like make something equal without accounting for race.
But you could argue that that's the current case now.
What?
Is that people are trying to be more inclusive, more inviting of everybody. So
Right.
wouldn't that have stayed in place? If it's the same thing that it was in the 80s when they enacted it, it'd still be the same thing, because I think people are more inviting, more like want more diversification.
Right, just because people want that doesn't mean it's...
But I just don't see the change, like when it was enacted and people were wanting like inclusion and all this like diversification stuff like that. I feel like it's more people are wanting the same thing, if not more now.
Mm-hmm.
So why all of a sudden is it this thing that gets revoked or changed and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. I think it was like Harvard was sued over this policy in the 80s, and then the Supreme Court said, no, Harvard, they're the best education system out here. They can do this if they want, kind of policy. And then, like, moving like 40 years in the future, it was like, you know what? We're hearing a lot of pushback. We're going to look at this, and we're going to overturn this. Yeah, that's what, at least where I come on it.
Yeah. You have anything to add, Shawn?
Not particularly.
No. This is the topic you want to talk about.
I don't really have much to say about this. I think, like, it's just a policy. It's just, like, another example of a policy that I just don't see the point in overturning it, personally.
Yeah. I don't know. From the little bit I watched your clip earlier.
Because if it even helps one person, it's an effective policy, in my opinion.
Well, the chances are is, like, you're saying, here's the real argument against it, is that you are essentially saying people that score better, like in high school with the testing and stuff, shouldn't get the chances of a better paying school.
But why are we gatekeeping higher education?
It's not gatekeeping, it's basically qualifying.
But the qualifications are made by the admissions board.
Correct.
So why is the Supreme Court even getting involved at all?
Because it was racially motivated.
How do you know it was racially motivated and
Because
not
that's
by
their
Well,
race or
policy.
talent?
I think it did
'Cause
target that.
The thing is that your scores aren't the only decision-making factor.
Yeah.
But to your point, if somebody who has a backstory of low-income family, right, and has to work, like, who's African American, comes from whatever, and then they don't have access to opportunities like education or different advancement opportunities, but a white person does, and they both score the same, who's going to get in? And the white person comes from like a upper middle class, wealthy family, so they have access to better educational opportunities like tutors and stuff like that. Who would you accept? So I think that's the point, was like, okay, this person is black, right, and scored about the same, if not little bit higher
At the
than
end of the
like,
day,
it's
the
like
issue is,
it's the
like-
decision of a private institution. So like at the end of the day,
but that's the
that
thing what the Supreme
private
Court is saying.
institution shouldn't be motivated by race. Like, for example, I'll give you another example that schools do make exceptions for scoring lower. Athletics. Like, if you're an athlete, you can score much lower than what the school admissions would normally allow for you to come in and do sports on their campus. Right? That's one exception that they're making of their policy. But what the Supreme Court's saying is you can no longer discriminate based on of race in any meaningful way of this policy.
Which I think is more fair to everybody instead of just one demographic. But
okay.
anything else you want to talk about? All right, so I got a question for you guys. What would be the coolest animal to scale up to the size of a horse? Don't all talk at once. Why?
Big goat would be cool. You could ride it. You could have it eat a lot more, which is the main reason you get a goat. A lot more meat once you scale it up to a horse size. Yeah. I think
Shawn?
a goat makes a lot of sense.
So goat for you, Joe. Okay. Sean?
A parrot.
Why a parrot?
Okay.
That's a big ass parrot.
Because parrots are as intelligent as about a 4-year-old. So that means they'd be pretty intelligent. So you could be like, hey, Mr. Parrot, can I ride you? And then he'd be like, all right.
Throw a tantrum.
Yeah, he'd throw a tantrum. but then you could ride him. And
Be
you'd be able to fly,
majestic.
you'd be able to fly around. It'd be great.
Be majestic.
And it'd be all colorful. And you'd even be able to talk to him while you're flying. Like,
Do they try to eat you? I feel like a parrot would try to eat
At that
you.
size? At
I mean-
the size of a horse? Probably.
you could just be like, hey, not today.
That's like saying, like,
Probably want a cracker?
you know what's a really cool animal if you scale up to a horse? A spider. Think of how
Fuck that, dude.
Fuck
That-
that,
fuck
shit,
that.
bro.
that would be so cool if you had like
Not
those
happening.
trapdoor spiders
No.
that's like
I'd say like
That's the worst. In fact, why don't we scale that down to the size of a molecule? How about that? Just make them vanish.
dude, I'd say a squirrel.
Yeah, if you want to just deal with an asshole all day, yeah, sure.
No, like imagine that. Like that
It just chucks an acorn at your head.
but,
But
like,
like this time, he just like smacks in your face.
throws a fucking acorn at like 90 miles an hour.
squirrels
It's-
like do the most infrastructure damage of all the rodents out there.
Or an ant. I feel like an ant would be cool, like magnified to the size of a horse.
Would
I
they
don't know
still
about
have the massive colonies that they still have? That would be a problem.
It would be a problem, but if there's just one, if like,
Would it be a problem though? Because like maybe they would just get rid of all the humans, and so that's such a bad thing.
It absolutely is. Nothing comes between humanity. Nothing.
Not even a colony of ants.
That's right. We would nuke them.
so the other question.
What if it was a cockroach and they're immune
Fuck
to
that,
nukes?
dude. Fuck that.
What would you do then?
Train them to eat each other.
I'd say a bunny too, like a rabbit. That'd be cool. Size of a horse.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. That'd just be cool.
I guess like when we're thinking of a horse, I guess I was thinking like
Like a pony.
the size of like fucking an elephant. I
Like
guess
a
like
yeah. Like the big.
But I guess like a horse is like not that big. So
A horse is.
I mean they're
bigger
big,
than
but
a
like
human.
but not to the size of an elephant.
It's like 800 pounds.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. An
Yeah.
800-pound animal.
Yeah.
So I guess to try to change gears is another question found. What would be the worst thing for the government to make illegal?
Water.
Yeah, water. I would
Water?
agree with that actually. I don't
Anything
even have
else?
to think that hard about it because I think that is the number one answer.
Uh,
Haven't you seen Mad Max Fury Road?
No.
The entire movie is based around a war over water. It's a post-apocalyptic world. Purely because there's not enough water in the world.
What else though?
okay, if we get rid of the stuff that humans 100% need and just want, what would be the worst thing of desire to ban?
Probably a car.
A car?
Yeah. Because then you just be stuck wherever you are.
That's true. And I can
Or
see-
methods of transportation, I guess, if you want to like broaden that umbrella. But
I mean,
No, I think a car is good. I think internet could be a strong argument.
Well, we survived without internet for such a long period of time.
Exactly. So, but it would also. Be
But I guess it would
one of
affect the
worst-
modern. Yes.
It would be one of the worst things they could ban. It's so good.
I feel
Yeah.
like politicians were already kind of targeting the internet for a while, right? With like all those like network or like network restrictions and stuff like that.
The
Or
network.
The forget what
You're
it's
talking
called.
about the FCC, right?
Yeah.
The FCC is their own thing. That's happened under Trump. But it does look like Congress is going to introduce their own. I forget what it's called when they have like their own little small group that specializes in it. It's like a new government branch that'll focus on like internet use. Is what they're trying to start
I
up right
see.
now. So
Just another form of government control.
I'd say refilling.
I got a feeling like you're just saying that and you're not actually against government control.
No, I don't think anybody's against government control.
I mean, libertarians are clearly against government control.
But they're the only ones.
Are they?
Are Republicans against government control? Because I don't believe that for a second.
No.
Neither are the Democrats. So, yeah. We all secretly want to be controlled.
I'd say taking free samples, farting in public, or refilling your cup before you leave a fast food outlet.
Are those the choices?
No, those are three that I looked up. Oh, I found it on a
Oh,
list.
no, because if those are the choices, I think taking free samples is easily the choice.
Being the
What?
worst one?
No, being the best one. Like, who doesn't want free samples?
Boy, that'd be illegal. Like the government would
Oh,
make that.
that would be the worst thing in the world. Like,
That's what.
I'll say this. I don't come across free samples enough to make it really impact my life. I will say...
then you're not really living, are you?
Listen, I stay in my house and I come to work. Like, that's...
There's some other ones too, like peeing in the sink, going to a brothel, counting cards, swearing in front of your children, owning a flamethrower.
Could you imagine if you just dropped an F-bomb in front of your child and, like,
Lost custody.
you just got
This is not
that got dark.
using an accessible toilet, staring at others on a nudist beach, going on the dark web, sleeping with your stepbrother or stepsis. These are just like topic,
Well,
like
that's just
points.
human rights right there.
Owning exotic animals. So Mike Tyson be fucked with his tigers.
Nah,
Doesn't he already like have a lost an eye or some shit?
No, he just got a tattoo on his eye.
Oh, gotcha.
I think he'd rather have his eye getting taken out than get another face tattoo. But
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You think so?
dude, I would never get a fucking face tattoo.
A face tattoo, let me tell you this, is a statement saying, I never have to work again. Fuck the board. And it's so respectable. Like, same thing with people with so much, like, hand tattoos, especially if they're famous. It's like, man, this guy never has to work a day in the...
Well, Mike Tyson is still the number 2 Tyson in the country.
Neil deGrasse Tyson's number one.
Okay,
Tyson
the
chicken
third
nuggets?
best. Yeah, Tyson chicken nuggets are the number 1 Tyson in this country. So if we were ranking Tysons in this country, it'd be Tyson chicken, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Mike Tyson.
No, not even close. Mike Tyson, number one. All right, baddest motherfucker on the planet, and then Tyson chicken nuggets, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Tell me you haven't had Tyson chicken without telling me you've had Tyson chicken.
I've had Tyson chicken. It's good, right? But Mike Tyson is above that. Baddest motherfucker on the planet.
How many other
Can you
Tysons
say that
are
about
there that are relevant?
Tyson Fury, Tyson Chandler, a lot of other ones.
I feel like we're playing Family Feud right now.
Hey, you said how many other Tysons are in the world right now? I'm just naming a couple.
Yeah, Cam, name all the Tysons you know. Go.
Good answer. Good
Tyson,
answer.
Tyson chicken nuggets, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Tyson Chandler. Yeah, no. I'm just saying, Mike Tyson, dude, is like king shit. Like,
He's pretty old right now.
Yeah.
he'd still fuck us. He'd
probably
fuck
just
all
hanging
three of
out.
us up within like 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like, not
there's
even
no doubt about that. But like,
And the guy's 56 years old.
How many cams could it take to take down Mike Tyson?
How many?
Yeah.
I'm
well,
bad.
we'd have to talk about cloning again to get to that answer.
I'd say I'm a bad motherfucker. So no shit. No, it would take a lot. They got
Like eight 8 cams.
I'd say 8 to 10, maybe
Yeah.
more. Yeah, I mean,
That's basically what you get with the
I'm gonna say 100,
100 cams.
how many Shawns?
No shot, dude.
like 400 Shawns. Yeah,
How many Joes?
like about 400 Joes too. Yeah, like just
See, I mean, the problem is like
Mike Tyson would just solo everyone. Like, who are we kidding?
I think I
I
don't know.
think I
Like,
could take him with 8 of me.
You think so?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't
Good luck
know.
with that.
See, it's hard though.
Well, first we got to figure out how to clone ourselves, and then
Just ask Elon Musk.
I'll just have to
He'll get on
find
it.
8 other retards. Like,
whoa,
there's a Joe around every.
we're gonna cut that. We're
we're
gonna cut. Yeah, we're gonna cut
that's
that
not,
out.
That's not part of this episode.
Joe's politically incorrect. Okay, so I got a serious question, right? Because this is like a pretty intense
All right,
thing
sure.
on the internet.
All right,
Who's gonna win? If they fight Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg,
Zuckerberg.
and why?
Zuckerberg.
Because Elon Musk is so far up his own ass, he imploded his own website.
But I'm talking like this is a fight. Anything can happen in a fight.
I mean, the fight is a mental fight, and he's losing. So
No. Mark Zuckerberg wins because he's younger, he's more athletic, and he's made fighting sports his primary passion for the last, 5 years. That is why Zuckerberg will wipe the floor with Elon Musk.
How much?
And that's why
but-
Elon Musk pulled out of the
where are they fighting?
fight. He pulled out. He said his mom wouldn't let him do it.
No, last
No,
I knew
no,
the fight
they're-
was still on.
No,
They
no.
was-
Was it?
Yeah, hang on. Let me see.
Because I did not hear that.
No, they're fighting in the metaverse. That's where they're fighting.
No way.
Yeah,
No way.
I'm making it a real thing. It's not real, but you believe me though.
I'm like, I didn't. Why would they do that?
So
That's Mark's home turf advantage.
So, okay, this is what Business Today was saying 2 days ago. Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg cage fight to take place in Italy, Tesla CEO reveals. So, he revealed that himself. So,
Wait, this is actually a real thing that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Do you think we were just bullshitting?
but my thing is, right, the money, I think Dana White, who's the president of UFC, said that if this fight happens, this is probably going to be the most bought pay-per-view of all time.
Yeah, because I would buy it.
So, okay, so
and I don't buy pay-per-view.
So even non-fight fans, right, are gonna buy this fight. How much money should each individual put up for the fight?
Put up?
Because
Like,
this
just
is gonna go to this should go to charity. I believe that Dana White said this money's gonna go to charity. I don't know what charity, but I believe that's what was said. So if that's the case, how much money, since they each have a fuck ton of it, how much should each individual put up?
500 mil. Make it an even bill, and then whatever your fans bring.
You don't think that's too little though?
50%
50% of
of what they have.
Match, so it's all dependent on the fans.
I think 50 billion each.
That's insane, and they would never go for that.
Think about it. Yep, that's $100 billion for charity. Go towards research. Go towards.
I mean,
Fuck it. What do you got to lose? You're gonna make
Money.
a fuck ton.
money.
Yeah, but they still got a fuck ton of it.
They're
only gonna make more in the future, dude.
Like
What?
I don't know how much they're worth. But
I'm not sure if
I don't think 50
Zuckerberg's
billion
even
is-
worth 50 billion.
Let me.
he might not be anymore.
Like
Yeah, I'm
Elon
gonna
Musk
look
is
at
worth like 100, but
No, his
Zuckerberg.
net worth.
Yeah,
Elon Musk is like 200 billion.
is he really?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, he was.
Let me check.
He,
No,
was he
Zucker-
broke the record for 100.
Zuckerberg, as of 2023, his net worth is $101.8 billion. Okay. Elon Musk, who is currently the richest man in the world, is worth $237.7 billion.
Okay, so why
50
not? What about 10 billion apiece?
10 billion?
Yeah,
So 20 billion total?
I mean that's still a lot of fucking money.
Or even 15 and you make it even, you get 30.
Hell, 1 billion. All right, 1 billion. Still a lot of $2 billion to any charity. That's still insane.
And any billionaire who is going to be on the card has to donate the same amount that each one.
So if
So
each of
if
them were to
Zuckerberg-
donate $1 billion,
And say you had 12 people on the card, right? So each one, it's what, $12 billion for total for charity? That's a lot of fucking money. I don't know. I think Zuckerberg wins,
Now,
unfortunately.
is the charity the Shawn Fund?
It's the No Facts All Logic podcast fund. That's what I think it should go to. It's a good cause.
Yeah, it's a good cause.
Support
It's
the troops.
actually it's actually a political group that goes exactly against the opposite of whatever you want.
That's bullshit.
It is actually directly going towards deporting immigrants.
Speed the process
Now we've
up.
come full circle.
Yeah, it actually will. They're actually paying for the Florida law.
They're funding Trump and DeSantis'
Yeah.
presidential runs.
Yeah.
I mean, Elon's probably already doing that.
Probably. He just bought like 6,000 acres of land in Texas. I'm like, you fucking cunt. I don't.
Is
think
he
just to
building,
expand
like,
on-
a big factory down there.
Yeah, is it for SpaceX that he's building for, or
No,
Tesla?
it's a Tesla factory.
Tesla.
It's
That
a massive
motherfucker.
Tesla factory too.
Well, yeah, 6,000 acres. That's fucking huge.
It could be some SpaceX stuff over there too.
I mean, probably a little bit, but mainly Tesla.
I mean, that is like where all his money's made.
But nah, I don't know. I think Zuckerberg has the experience, and that's key. Like a very obviously the most crucial thing in fighting, and just the mental preparation going into it. I mean, I think Zuckerberg, he just won a jiu-jitsu tournament earlier this year.
Yeah, he's
Jiu-jitsu is
crazy.
nothing to fuck with. Like he does MMA. He's been doing it for the past like 3 or 4 years since
Oh,
COVID. So
easy.
Zuckerberg's easy, and he runs a 5-minute 38-second mile. He's got everything against Elon.
You know what, Elon?
It's not
like,
the money,
How he
but
comes out, he should do the
Rocket Man.
No, he should do the Captain America thing where he pops out of that thing, and it's like, and he pops out like a droid or something.
I just hope.
When he,
So, yeah, what if Elon is in a droid versus Zuckerberg?
At that point, yeah, dude. Like,
Like, what if Elon's, fucking controlling a robot?
then yeah,
Versus
clear
Zuckerberg.
advantage.
Who's
Dude,
winning?
like fucking,
Who's winning then?
it's like real steel at that point with fucking.
Yeah, no, but Zuckerberg doesn't have a robot.
He comes out in the.
no.
He comes out in the.
he
He gets
just
down and he starts.
He just ties his black belt, and that's it.
He's a coral belt, but or like a.
No, he goes in. He starts pulling wires. He starts rewiring the robot.
Honestly,
Elon's over there trying to take him down before he can rewire the robot.
I don't condone steroids or like anything like that, but I really hope that there's no drug testing policy for this fight. I hope
No
Elon.
shot.
I
They
hope-
did it in Italy because of. I bet you they did it in Italy to get around drug testing. Both of them are doped.
I really hope. I don't condone it at all, right? Especially since I'm going for exercise and fitness for school. But I really hope that Elon comes out roided the fuck up, and he just fucking rages in that fight. Just starts throwing haymakers, but his stamina doesn't diminish, and it's just
Yeah, his nose starts bleeding, but he never took a nose.
he
hit.
he just Dragon Ball C's the fuck out of that, and just
Dude, I would love to see drug use on the stage, from these guys. He
he does,
go to the corner, they just start doing lines.
he does the biggest line of coke while doped up on fucking steroids, and he just comes out shredded and just ready to go.
Dude, that would be an incredible thing to watch.
I don't condone steroids. I'm saying that now, but if they didn't have a drug test, I don't think that they do. But if they don't, Elon should highly consider taking some TRT, some Trenibol, anabolic
Elon's
steroids.
crazy enough to just be a fucking floating head from Futurama and then attach himself to an even bigger robot just to win this fight.
He comes out in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah,
He hires a doppelganger.
but not
Joe Rogan.
the sleek ass nanotech suit that Tony Stark developed, the fucking first Iron Man suit,
Yeah.
the giant fucking robot that looks like crap.
He has the Hulk? Was it the Hulk? The Iron Man, Hulk.
The Hulk plus armor, yeah.
The Hulk plus armor, dude. He comes out in that, just fucking pows fucking Zuckerberg across the cage,
No, Zuckerberg just holds it.
dude. I'm liking these ideas. I think that come out strong. He just I
Yeah,
just
we should be
picture.
the promoters, guys. promote the show.
It's gonna gain. Like, they're gonna sell at the arena, right? That's gonna be first. I'm curious to see who else they have on that card, because you have your prelims, you have like your main card. I kind of wish that they would do different celebrities and different billionaires, like multi-billionaire, like have Mark Cuban fight like fucking, Trump or someone like that, because they fucking hate each other. But that would be the funniest fucking thing. Have like Trump Jr. fight Hunter Biden. Like that'd be fucking awesome. Like that's what they should do to promote this fight.
You know what? What else? Hunter Biden would.
He does a line of coke.
You want to talk about drug abuse?
He's like, woo! Let's do this, baby. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. Like Bill Gates fights Jeff Bezos or something like that.
Dude, that would be crazy. But Jeff Bezos is looking ripped right now.
Dude, he's jacked to fuck.
Yeah, he's doping.
Like that motherfucker's on something, dude. Like
yeah.
Your testosterone goes down over time, and this motherfucker's just pumping sky high.
It's like he got divorced, and now he's like Rocket Man over here. Like
I eat 4 square meals a day, all protein.
It's like my ex was holding me back from my true potential.
Took fuck ton of money from him.
Oh my god.
But no, I think that was a good podcast.
All right.
So, Shawn, do you want to go ahead and plug in your podcast?
Oh yeah, so I talk about video games on this podcast called The Jester's Court with a few friends, and if you'd like to hear more from me, you can check me out there.
Where?
On Spotify.
Awesome.
Any other platforms you're on?
Not currently. I'm working on it.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on, Shawn. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Joe, thank you again, dude. It was awesome doing it.
I'm here all week.
Right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.